Assalamualaikum and good morning to Madam Hani Suraya. Today, our group will present for assignment 1, Consol Sofp. So this is our group member, Jovina, Mangaleshwari, me, myself, Nurul Aini, and Tashini. So for situation 1, Jovina will present for situation 1 and Tashini situation 2. Next, me for situation 3. And last situation, Mangaleswari will present. So I will pass to Jovina.
Greetings, madam. My name is Jovina Jivraj Anapampan Devi Jivraj. So, in assignment 1, I'll be explaining the situation 1. So, let's get started. So, here we can see the building. The useful life of this building is 62 years. So, it starts from 2018 to 2023. So, the acquisition date would be 2018, and the Sofp amount date would be 31st December 2023. So, as the first step, we have to determine the gap year. Gap year is important for the pre-RR and post-RR, where we can determine the amount based on the gap year. So here I have taken 2023 and minus with 2018, as we'll get 5 and plus 1, we'll get 6 years in total. So there is 6 years among this timeline. So during this timeline, there are 6 years. So next, as the first step, we'll go and move on to the pre-RR. So as the pre-RR, we're going to take the fair value of the acquisition date, where here we can see the acquisition date is 7,400,000. So here, 7,400,000, we're going to minus with the CV. So here we have to calculate the CV ourselves. So 62 years minus with 6 gap years. And we're going to take the soft pay amount, whereby it is 6,700,000. So we have to times it with 62 years as for because it is the useful life. And here I've simplified the formula. So here we're gonna do 6,700,000 times with 62 and divide with 56. So where I got 56 is by CV, because we're gonna minus CV 62 was minus 6. So we're gonna get 56. So here as the answer, we'll be getting 7,417,856.14. So this is the amount. So we're gonna minus with the fair value. As we can see here, if we so we can see here the fair value of 2018 is actually lesser than the CV. So it means it is a loss on RR. So here we're going to determine how much it has been lost. So here we have 17,857.14. So here this is the loss. Next step, we're going to record it in the journal entries. So as per the journal entries, since it is a loss, we're going to add the loss on that debit. The debit says loss on RR for the pre-RR, and credit will be the building. So here we have the amount. Next step is the depreciation adjustment. So in depreciation adjustment, we have 2 categories. One, you have to calculate it for the subsidy, and then another one would be for the parent. So subsidy would be easy than the parent. Okay, so now where we're going to take the amount is from here, the CV. We're going to take the CV for the year of 2018. And we're going to divide with 62 years useful life and times with the gap year, 6 years. As the answer, we're going to get 717,857.14. So this is the amount for the depreciation for the subsidy. So this would be the amount. So moving to the total depreciation by parent, we're going to calculate one by one. So as we can see here in 2018, there are fair value of 7,400,000. We're going to take that first. 7,400 million. And we're going to divide it by 62 years since it's starting at 62. So since 2018 and 2019 going to be the same value, I'll straight away times it with 2. So here I'll be getting 238,709.68. So this would be the amount. So next is the 2000. So as for the 2020's fair value, 2020's depreciation, we're gonna look back at 7,900,000. So I've taken 7,900,000, and I've divided it by 60 years as the years is getting reduced. So here I'll be getting 131,664,67. So here I have 3 years as the same depreciation amount. So I have 21, 22, and 2023. So these 3 years are going to be containing one depreciation amount. So I've stayed away. So if I take the 8,100,000 and divide it with 59 years, I will get 137,288.14 if I round off the number at the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to times it with 3 years as the 21, 22, 23 is the same amount. So in total, I'm going to get 411,864.41. So in total of these three amounts, I'm getting 72,240 and 76. This would be the amount for parent, and this would be the amount for the subsidy. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna compare it. So we're gonna compare the parent's depreciation amount with the subsidy's depreciation amount. So we're gonna take 7. So I'm gonna take the 700 and minus with this subsidy amount. So in total, I'll be getting 6,483.62. So this would be the amount for the depreciation adjustment. So I'm going to include it in the journal entries. We're going to take this amount. 6,483.6. So let's move on to the third step, which is the post-RR. So post-RR is basically the evaluation reserve after the acquisition. So pre-RR is the equity that the subsidy hold before the acquisition. Acquisition. So hereby we're going to calculate the post-RR. So as for the fair value, we're going to take where we can see the fair value starting at after the acquisition date. We're going to take the 7,900,000. Here, let me 7,900,000. Okay, now as the last amount, we're going to take 7,400,000. So this will be the CV. Why we can't take this amount as the full CV is because after this 2018, we have one more depreciation. So we have to minus the depreciation in order to get the real amount. So here the depreciation was, so we have 2 years of depreciation. So I'm going to take the 200,000 straight away. We can see as this is a negative amount. So if we minus the 7,400,000 and this amount, we're going to get, so we'll be getting 7,161, 2, 2, and 3, 2. This would be the amount for the if we minus the 7 million and this depreciation amount, So we're going to compare this amount and the total to get the RR value. So here we'll be getting 738 and 309.68. So this would be the first post RR value. So hereby we can add this to the journal entries. So debit would be the building and credit would be the post RR. As the RR is getting increased, it will go to the credit. Okay, so let's move on to the post RR for the second post RR. Then in timeline we can see in 2020 there we have a fair value. So it is valued by 8,100,000, sorry. So here we're going to take 8,100,000 and minus with, as we can see here, we're going to minus with this amount, this depreciation, like 2019's depreciation amount. So where we can see 131,666. So we're going to have like 100, sorry here. So 131,000. So here we're going to take this amount, 7,900,000. Yes, we can see the flow as like in 2019 we can see the 7,900,000 is as a fair value, it stands as a fair value. In 2020 it's become as a CB. So here this is a depreciation, so going to minus this. Okay, if you minus this with the 7 million. So as we can see here, we're going to minus 7,900,000 with the depreciation amount that we have gotten. So here I'm going to take 7 million plus this amount. So hereby we're going to get 7,700,000. So hereby I'm going to take this amount and minus with this total. So hereby I'm getting 331,000 of amount. So okay. So this amount would be here. So we have gotten 33,666.67. So here, as a case is saved, so the debit will be in building and the credit would be post RR. So as the fourth step here, we go, sorry, this one is the fourth step. And as the last step here, we're going to do the, oh, sorry, this is the third step. Okay, as the last step, fourth, we're gonna calculate the Sofp amount. So Sofp amount is going to be the fair value of 2020. So why we do this is before the Sofp amount of 6,700,000, we still have depreciation. So first we should minus the depreciation off, and then we're going to get the real Sofp amount. So here we're going to take this amount, 8,100,000. And minus with the amount of, I'm going to minus the depreciation amount for this area, particular 2020. So 2020, sorry, so the particular year, particular fair value. So in 2021, we used the 8,000,000. So 8,100,000. So here, as we know, we're going to take this value. So this is the depreciation for the 8,100,000. So here I'm going to add this. I'm going to minus with this amount. So I'm going to round off, I think 14. So yes, here, as the result, we're going to get, if we minus the 8,100,000 and the depreciation amount for the exact 2020, 2022, and 2023, which is the same amount of 137,288.14, it's going to get 7,962,711.86. So this is the amount for the Sofp. So thank you, madam. This is my presentation.
Good morning, madam. My name is Tashni. I will continue with situation 2. So for the first step, we need to calculate the gap years. So for the gap years, we need to start with 1st January 2020 until 31st December 2024. So which is 5 years. So for the second step, we need to calculate the pre-RR. So we need to take the acquisition date, which is 1st January 2020, CV, same date for the FV, 2020, FV. So fair value already given, 5.1. So for CV, we need to calculate. We need to take the Sofp amount, which is 4 million, times with useful life, which is 55 years, divide with useful life minus gap year. Minus gap year. Oh, the amount will be 4.4 million. 4.4 million. So the CV will be 4.4 million. So we need to find out the difference, which is 700,000. So for here, I want to do the checking point. So for the checking point, okay, I want to take the 4.4 million. 4.4 million. So we need to minus with 4.4 divide with the useful life, which is 55 years, close bracket, and then we need to times with the gap years, which is 5. Oh, okay. 5. So we'll get 4.4 minus, we'll get 400,000. So the final answer will be 4 million. Which is same with the Sofp amount. So for the next step, I will continue with the post RR first, madam. Post RR. For the journal entries, BR building, BR credit, RR 3. So the amount will be 700,000. 700,000. So for the post RR, so the next step will be post RR. Okay. So for the post RR, we will take the 31st December 2020, which is the year end. For CV, for the FV, for the same day as well, December 2020. So the amount For the fair value, they already given, which is 5.5. So for the CV, we need to take the previous fair value, which is 5.1. So the difference will be 400,000. So for the journal entries, will be DR, building, for credit, post RR, okay, which is 400,000, madam. 400,000. So next, we need to calculate for the 2021. They already given the fair value as well. So we need to take the 31st December 2021 for CD, same date for FB 21. Okay. So the fair value already given, which is 5.8. For the current value, we need to take the fair value for the previous year, which is 5.5. So the differences will be 300,000. So for the journal entries, debit, building, credit, post RR. So the amount will be 300,000. So I will continue with the depreciation method. So for the depreciation adjustment. So we need to calculate for the subsidies first. Subsidies depreciation first. So we need to take the CV amount, which is we calculate previously, which is 4.4. 4.4. We need to divide with the total useful life and times with the gap years. So the amount will be 400,000. For the parent depreciation, we need to calculate 2020 until 2024. So first December 2020 until 2024. Okay. So for the first 2020, we need to minus, which is 5.1, which is the acquisition amount, minus with the 5.5, which is the year-end amount. 5 point. So the differences will be 400,000. For the next year depreciation, which is 2021, they already give the fair value. So we need to calculate 5.5, which is the previous year fair value. We need to minus with the current year fair value, which is 5.8. So the total will be 300,000. But for the 2022, we need to follow the previous year fair value. So we need to divide, which is 5.8. Divide with the balance year, So the total years will be 55. So it's already 2 years. So 53. 53. Yeah. So 53, the answer will be 0. 9. So I already round off, madam. So for the 2023 and 2024 will be the same amount because there is no any changes on the fair value. So 5.8 minus with the depreciation for the previous year, which is 109,434, divide with 52 years. We'll get the same amount, 0.9434. So for the 2024, same as well, 5.8 minus the 2 previous depreciation. We need to times 2 for minus 434. Okay. So the amount will be same as well. 3, 4. So the total amount will be 1,000,000. 1,028,302. So to find out the difference, we need to minus the subsidy and with the parent. Parent with the subsidy, sorry, madam. 0.24808 minus 400,000. Find the difference, which is this one. So the differences will be 628, 628,302. For the Consol Sofp, we need to take the 5.1, which is the acquisition amount for building. So the calculation will be the acquisition amount, which is 5.1 minus with the parent depreciation amount, which is 1,028,302. Yep, the total amount will be 4,071,698. So that's it from me, madam. Thank you.
My name is Nuraini Atira. So I will do for situation 3, part 2. Okay. So firstly, we have to calculate the gap year. Gap year. Gap year. Okay, 51. Change the gap year is 6 year. 2025 minus 2020, get 5 year, then plus 1, get 6 year. Next, calculate for PRR. PRR of building. Venue. 5.1 million. Then CV, we have to calculate CV. So, the CV we take the SOP as well as the amount 4.4 million and with 50 years divided by 4 44 years. Okay. 44 years because 50 minus with 6 years. Then we get 44 years. So 150 to 544. Okay. 5 million. Hmm. So the difference 5.1 million minus 5 million, we get 100,000. Next, do the journal entry for PRR. P1A. Also, also. Okay. Next, number 2, we need to calculate depreciation adjustment. This one we calculate the subsidy depreciation first. For the subsidy, we take 5,000. Sorry, 5 million. 5 million and with 6. Sorry, divide with 50 years. 9 with 6 years. So we get amount, the amount is RM 600,000. Next, parent depreciation. The payment for 2020. This one, the fair value for 2020. Times divide by 50 years. And time with 3 years. Because the gap from year 2020 until 2022 is 3 years. $5.1 million divided by 50 times 3 years. Okay, so we get 306. Next, P112. This one, the net fair value is 2022. So 5.8 million divided by 48. Okay. And we oops. Okay. So the gap from 22 until 2024 is 2 years. So useful life 50 years, we need to minus 2 years, then we get 48 years. So the answers divide 48 times 3. So time to 241 666.67. Next year 31 value for 2024. 2024 do same calculation 6.2 divide 47 with 1 years. This one we get 131,914.89. Then we calculate all the answers. Okay, 1279. So the depreciation adjustment one two seven nine five minus with 600 subsidy depreciation 600,000. We get 'Next, do the journal entry. G2A. Repeat. Position. RM. 679,581.955. Ready. Position. And next part we do for post RR. Okay. So post RR, we have two post RR. The first one is 5.8 million. Okay, post one. If we 20 21 2022. RM 5.8. CV RM, you take 5.1 million, then we minus the parent depreciation, this one. 5.1 million minus 306. Okay. 5 million minus 5.1, then minus 306 depreciation, we get RM 394,000. Okay. So the difference the difference 5.8 thousand minus with 394. We get 506. Okay. Next, post 6.2 million in year 2024. If we take FV before which is 5.8 million, then we minus with depreciation that we calculate before 5.8 million, then 1,666.67. We get Let me get the answer. RM 15833.3. Okay. So the difference 6.2 minus 158 we get 6041 666.67. Okay, done. So next part we do the journal entry. Suppose 1. Okay. Debit building RM 5406. Credit if RR holds RR holds 1. Okay. Next, debit building six zero four one 666.67. Credit RR holds 2. Okay, then. The last one, calculate the amount is OFP 1 for 2025. Which is we take so we take 6.2, the fair value before SOFP, then minus with the period depreciation that we calculated before, 131. 131. 89. So the total we get 6,068. Okay. Then so this is my part for calculation for situation 3. Thank you.
All right, I'll explain the situation for the question given that the Sofp date is for 31st December 2025 is 3,600,000. The acquisition date is 1st January 2020, which is 5 million. And the first fair value given is 31st December 2020, which is 6,400,000. The useful life is 70 years, and the gap year starts from the acquisition date, which is 1st January 2020 until the 31st December 2025, which is the gap year 6 years. So the very first thing we need to do is we will calculate the building pre-revaluation reserve, which is we have the formula CV minus 6CV divided by 70 equals to 3,600,000. So the 6 CV is the gap year and the 70 is useful life. So the 3,600,000 is the Sofp date. So the after we calculate that, we will get the current CV, which is 3937500. So we need to calculate the differences between CV and the fair value. So we will get 1062500. So we will record in the journal as debit building 1062500 and credit revaluation reserve pre 1062500. Next is our building post RR. So we have to calculate the carrying value, which is 31st of December 2022. The CV is the same as, sorry, the current value on the date must be same as the fair value given in the 31st So to calculate the carrying value, we use the fair value on the acquisition date, which is 5 million, and we minus with the 5 million, divide by useful life 70 years, and times with 3 years, because uh, from the acquisition date until 31st December 2025 is 3 years gap. So 5 million we divide by 70 and times 3 years, we will get 4785,714.29. So we need to compare the CV and the fair value, which is the fair value on 31st December 2022 is 6,400,000. Therefore, we will see the differences. So we will get about 164,285.71. Then we will record this in the journal as debit building 1614285.71 and credit post RR 1614285.71. Next, I'll move to depreciation for the building. So we have to calculate the first subsidy. So to calculate this using the carrying value from the acquisition date, which is 1st January 2020, the amount that we calculate from the pre-RR is 3937,500 divided by 70 and times with 6 years our gap year, so we will get 337500. So to calculate the depreciation on parent, we have to calculate from the acquisition date for the fair value 5 million divide by 70 years and times with 3 years, which we will get 214,285.71. So on the 31st December 25, we will be using the fair value given on 31st December 2020, which is the new fair value 6,400,000. So we need to divide by our useful life. We need to reduce the 3 years, and then so it will become 67, and then times with 3 years, which is 286567.16. So we need to add the 214,285.71 and 286567.16, which will give about 5008652.67. So we need to deduct with the parent we calculate previously. So 5008652.87 minus with 337500, we will get the amount of 1635.787. So then we will record it in the journal as debit depreciation 163,352.87 and credit is accumulated depreciation 163,352.87. Thank you. All right, I'll explain the situation for the question given that the Sofp date is for 31st December 2025 is 3,600,000. The acquisition date is 1st January 2020, which is 5 million. And the first fair value given is 31st December 2020, which is 6,400,000. The useful life is 70 years, and the gap year starts from the acquisition date, which is 1st January 2020 until the 31st December 2025, which is the gap year 6 years. So the very first thing we need to do is we will calculate the building pre-revaluation reserve, which is we have the formula CV minus 6 CV divided by 70 equals to 3,600,000. So the 6 CV is the gap year and the 70 is useful life. So the 3,600,000 is the Sofp date. So the after we calculate that, we will get the current CV, which is 3937,500. So we need to calculate the differences between CV and the fair value. So we will get 1062500. So we will record in the journal as debit building 1062500 and credit revaluation reserve pre 1062500. Next is our building post RR. So we have to calculate the carrying value, which is 31st of December 2022. The CV is the same as, uh, sorry, the current value on the date must be same as the fair value given in the 31st. So to calculate the carrying value, we use the fair value on the acquisition date, which is 5 million, and we minus with the 5 million, divide by useful life 70 years and times with 3 years, because uh, from the acquisition date until 31st December 2025 is 3 years gap. So 5 million, we divide by 70 and times 3 years, we will get 4785714.29. So we need to compare the CV and the fair value, which is the fair value on 31st December 2022 is 6,400,000. Therefore, we will see the differences. So we will get about 164,285.71. Then we will record this in the journal as debit building 1614285.71 and credit post RR 1614285.71. Next, I'll move to depreciation for the building. So we have to calculate the first subsidy. So to calculate this using the carrying value from the acquisition date, which is 1st January 2020, the amount that we calculate from the pre-RR is 3937,500 divided by 70 and times with 6 years, our gap year. So we will get 337500. So to calculate the depreciation on parent, we have to calculate from the acquisition date for the fair value 5 million divide by 70 years and times with 3 years, which we will get 214,285.71. So on the 31st December 25, we will be using the fair value given on 31st December 2020, which is the new fair value 6,400,000. So we need to divide by our useful life. We need to reduce the 3 years, and then so it will become 67, and then times with 3 years, which is 286567.16. So we need to add the 214,285.71 and 286567.16, which will give about 5008652.67. So we need to deduct with the parent we calculate previously. So 5008652.87 minus with 337500, we will get the amount of 1633.787. So then we will record it in the journal as debit depreciation 163,352.87 and credit is accumulated depreciation 163,352.87. Thank you.